Hello, hello, dear listeners, and welcome to another exciting episode of Drunkard's Walk. We are thrilled and delighted to have you here, allowing us into your ears and brains, and by extension, you know, your vascular system, your endocrine system. Like, it's all connected. Like, there's nothing that's happening in your head right now that isn't sending signals. So right now, in a very real way, we are entirely throughout your body. But it's not just me that's entered your body through your ears. It's a guy who I'm pretty sure completely agrees with my chosen metaphor, Matt Hartman. Matt, talk about how we're in people's bodies right now.
I'm hesitant to even speak. I feel like I'm intruding here. I feel like an invader of some kind. It doesn't feel right,
Nope.
but
It's purely consensual. They hit play. They downloaded the podcast. They're on board with this experience.
Okay. I guess that makes it all right. Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be all up inside you.
There we go.
Ugh. This is upsetting, Jethro. Why did you do this? Why did you make it this way?
I got to stay on brand. You know, I'm Jethro gonna Jethro is all I got to say.
Well, that's fair. Fair.
If you tuned into this expecting a tea party and me to be polite and affable, then you have not been listening to the previous 7 seasons of this podcast. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, and if they joined us for the first time today, I mean, good on them, I say.
Bravo. Welcome to one horrible person and one person who, by comparison, seems pretty reasonable. Although, you know, if you compare to on a global average, he'd probably be on the horrible side.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I just mean we're cranky old men, Matt.
Sure.
Some of us more than I'm a little bit further down that path, but you'll get there, and I believe in you.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate you believing in me. I like that kind of faith that you put in me, and I think that you're right. But I'm happy to be here nonetheless, and I'm happy to be wandering through Wikipedia. For those that are listening for the first time, we get a topic. We wander through Wikipedia via the links on the pages, and we get to another topic. And those topics are kind of randomized by the fact that we get them from our friends and from our relatives and from people that, you know, decide that they would like to give us topic ideas. So they're kind of random, and that's why it's a Drunkard's Walk. And if you're not familiar with the Drunkard's Walk, go look that up, because it's an interesting concept that we have kind of bastardized. I would say
we've podcasticized it.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a Wikipedia race or a Wikipedia challenge, or if your teachers are doing that with you, if you're a kid and you like to race through Wikipedia. We didn't know that existed, but apparently it does. So yeah, it's a good time.
And that explains our huge popularity in the grade schooler crowd.
Yeah, they are really big fans of us, and rightly so. Rightly so. I mean, Absolutely. The content is aimed directly at them, with all of our references that we make and things like that.
If I know one thing about grade schoolers, it's they love listening to middle-aged men talk about facts.
That is true. That's true. Yeah, and especially from different places all around the country. Like, I'm in Pittsburgh. You're in.
I'm in a place that's in a country. You nailed it. Gosh. You got it right there.
Really thought that I could run into that and you would just say where you were.
No, I saw the trap that you laid for me, and I deftly avoided it.
Just a hint. Can you give me a hint? Can you give me just a little nudge in the right direction?
You know what? I would be delighted to give you a hint, because you've been very patient with me. So the name of the location, the locality that I am in, contains multiple vowels.
How is that? What have you eliminated?
I've eliminated all the single vowel localities.
There's very few of those, I feel like.
Well, you know what?
Percentage-wise, at least.
Well, you're welcome, I guess. Gosh.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for doing it.
You asked for a hint. I gave you a hint, and then you're second guessing my hint giving ability.
You're right. I thought it was going to be a little more helpful than that, but I guess that was a hint. So,
well, how long have you known me, and you were still expecting me to be helpful?
Well, this may take me a minute or two. I do have a list of every locality on Earth. So let me go through and see if I can eliminate some of those off of the.
Yeah, why don't you get out your red yarn,
the cork board here,
and do some more of that stuff.
So
Matt, while you're talking about a destination that you're trying to figure out, we've got a challenge here that we have to go. So I appreciate that. That we've got to find a destination for our podcast today, and I was wondering how we were going to get there, because as far as I know, we can't provide a destination because that would be cheating and too much temptation. We need somebody else to provide it for us.
That's right. That's right, Jethro. We do. And we're in luck, actually, because I invited a friend of mine on to help us. I invited Mr. Jack Reda, and he's right here. Hey, Jack, how's it going?
Hello. I'm the thrill that I am experiencing to be here can be measured scientifically.
That is
okay.
What a reserved comment that it can be measured. That is, I'm glad we broached that high standard.
I'm happy to join you from a 2-vowel locality.
Oh, see,
Nice.
That tells me a little bit more. That actually narrowed it down.
Well, I'm pretty sure you know where he lives anyway. So
wait, is it 2 vowels total, or is it just 2 different vowels and they could be used multiple times?
Both.
Oh, okay. Well, that's helpful. Well, Jack, thank you for coming on and being as difficult as I remember you being. It is great to see you. And so Jack and I, Jethro, you're not going to believe this. Jack and I know each other through improv.
what?
Yeah.
Inconceivable.
But here's the thing, Jethro.
And
yeah. Oh, you see what he did there?
Oh, wow. The lessons paid off. Keep going.
Proof. Here's the thing, though, Jethro, if it wasn't for Jack, I wouldn't know anyone else through improv.
Wow.
Jack's the guy that started this whole thing for me, you son of a bitch.
Wow.
I'm like the Pennsylvania of improv.
Yeah.
I'm the keystone.
I see.
Nice.
I see what you've done.
I see what
yes.
you nicely done there. That was.
I did my homework.
Yeah. So Jack was working with Comedy Sports back in 2002, I think is when I started there. And he was the one who ran the boot camp that I was a part of. So I essentially learned everything I know from Jack. So Jack, yeah. I owe it all to you, or I blame you for everything.
You learned how to march and stand at parade rest, which is
that's right in that boot camp.
That's the best stance to have for most improv activities.
Mm-hmm. At rest, yeah, for sure. But no, I've been working with Jack for that whole time too, and I was lucky enough to be a part of his group D Cup for a while. Gosh, where else did we perform? We performed as part of Comedy Sports, obviously, the Blue Show for a while. What other things am I? Last Ham Standing.
Stinky Business.
Stinky Business.
The Fart Squad.
That was only one time, though.
Yeah.
What was it? Improvaire or Improvisaire?
Improvisaire, yes.
Improvisaire. Well, how many times did we do that?
Which was a D-Cup show. We did it a couple of times.
That was, man, I remember that was a good one. That was a lot of fun. We were pilots. We were and that was the whole idea is we were pilots in the cockpit and we did a whole bit related to that. Although the greatest D-Cup show, in my opinion, was the Boneless Chicken Cabaret. And so for people that aren't familiar, Jack, tell them what Boneless Chicken Cabaret was about.
Well, it started off as a joke of what would be the absolute worst group to be in, one where you're dressed as chickens and nobody can understand anything that you say. Mm-hmm. But after a while, I began to wonder if it actually might be a pretty good show. And none of you wanted to do it, but I made you do it. And we did. Right. We dressed up as chickens and we did a whole show. And it was just, it defied all logic. Because we were just making chicken sounds and standing around half the time, and it was pretty hilarious. Yep. But it was difficult to see with those costumes on. It was very hot. It was exhausting. Yeah. So we only did probably about 20 or so shows of that, but we did get hired by the I think was it the EPA?
Is that right?
FDA. It was the FDA,
do that one.
The Food and Drug Administration hired us to do a holiday show for them. And and we won some awards with our chickens. So it was a pretty well received show, but just grueling.
That is
endeavor.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it was great. And you made those costumes, didn't you, Jack?
I did. We to do a test run, I rented 3 very, very old stinky costumes from the costume shop. in Arlington.
Yeah.
And we did that as a test run in the middle of a normal D-Cup show. We figured if we bookended it with just regular human improv, if the chickens were terrible, maybe people would forget that they were subjected to it. But it ended up being the highlight of that show. So I realized I did not want to have to spend the money for those stinky non-matching. And they weren't even all chickens. I don't even know what one of them was. But I did. I made and that was part of my college experience paying off, because I went to VCU in the theater department, and they taught me how to sew. So I did make those costumes. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh,
very nice.
They were insane. They were great. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. We had actual like names as the chickens. There were T-shirts at one point made. I still have 2 of them, I think. It was so great. It was a blast.
Collect all 12.
Yeah, that's right. Try to get them all. So that's how I know Jack, and I really do. I owe you everything, man. Really, seriously, my life would be a completely different thing if it wasn't for you. So thank you. Let me say publicly, thank you very much for all of that, because it was awesome. I really
all right. I'm glad to hear it. Finally.
Yeah. I had to wait 20 years. I can't just say it right away. Then then people are like, it doesn't mean anything. But see, now 20 years, it means something.
Damn.
Yeah. So there it is. So did you come here just to hear me thank you, or did you come here with a topic for us to travel off to, a destination, if you will?
Oh, was I supposed to think of that beforehand? I thought it was going to be.
You can
organic.
come up with it now. You're an improviser, so
I do, and it's interesting because it's actually apropos of something that you said earlier.
Oh,
as you were mentioning boot camp, I actually attended Coast Guard boot camp. I was in the Coast Guard for 4.5 years, and I thought it would be fun to throw a little bit of Coast Guard paraphernalia at you for this first one. I was tempted to go with Cosmic Encounter because it's a Wikipedia entry that includes me.
Oh,
but I was like, it's not all about me, I guess. And so plus I figured it's like, it's a science fiction game. It's probably too closely connected to nerdy stuff that you guys will just be able to wax ridiculous on for
possibly
hours on end. So I was like, I should maybe find something that's not necessarily in your comfort zone. So I went with something from my military past. So let me know when you're ready for it, and I will.
Yeah, go away. Man, we're ready.
So it is a FID. F-I-D. FID.
F-I-D.
Should I tell you about what it is, or is that part of your own discovery?
No, that's absolutely.
You can definitely tell us a little about it. Is it FID, or are those like? Is it an acronym?
No, it's just called a FID, and it's a nautical tool that you learn in seamanship, and it's used for pulling apart knotted lines.
Oh,
so it's a tool, and the reason that it left an indelible impression on my psyche was because it's basically a long wooden spike, and we used to use it metaphorically for how we felt we were being treated by our superiors. They were giving us the FID, we would say to each other. Mostly me. I'm really the only one that perpetuated the idea of being just, stabbed in the ass with a wooden spike.
I see.
As a way to describe my dissatisfaction with any given situation. In fact, I would refer to it as being given the thorny FID if it was an especially egregious situation, which it typically was. My first 2 years in the Coast Guard were fairly horrific. After that, it was much more enjoyable. But we got the FID quite a bit.
Got it.
That's one of the few things that I don't even have to think very hard. I'm like, what was something memorable from my years in the Coast Guard? FIDs.
Very, very nice. So thank you, first of all. Let me ask you a question. And first of all, thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Let me ask you this. When you run into veterans from other branches of the service, the Marines, the Air Force, do you feel that they view you as an equal, or do they view the Coast Guard with some degree of lesser appraisal
It's definitely the latter. And
Okay.
One of the things that I did in my time in the Coast Guard was I served on the inaugural committee when Bill Clinton was elected the first time. It's the inaugurations are run by the military until the election, and then whoever is elected, their team comes in and helps out. But you've got all five branches of the service are in charge of that, and I was the Coast Guard representative for the command group of the Armed Forces Inaugural Committee.
Nice.
It was a pretty big deal, and I couldn't believe my good fortune. It was actually a fantastic gig to get. I got to go to the White House, and I met Clinton and Gore and their wives.
Wow.
Went to the Kennedy Center and met Will Smith, and he smacked the shit out of me. No, he didn't. He was pretty regular back then.
He does that. Yeah. Don't say anything about his wife's alopecia.
No. So he wasn't even married at the time. He was still just kind of the Fresh Prince. But
Sure.
So it was pretty amazing. And but I had a lot of friends from the other branches. A common refrain was they were amazed that I was even allowed in the Coast Guard, since I'm not over 6 feet tall, which is how tall you have to be able to walk to shore when your vessel sinks.
Oh.
So it was that sort of thing. They're like, oh, the Coast Guard. That was a common thing. But I can tell you that the ASVAB requirements for the Coast Guard are much higher than most of the other services. So that was the only thing that I could really. That was my one comeback. Was like, well, what were your ASVAB requirements? And when you're slinging that around as an insult, you've already lost. Already lost the war. It's fairly pointless at that point. But I mean, the Coast Guard is not and has never been part of the Department of Defense. So
okay.
Is
that why?
They don't include the Coast Guard in that because it's paid for by the DoD. So it was part of the Department of Transportation pre 9/11, and now it's part of Homeland Security. So.
Interesting. Well, and now there's Space Force, so I feel like you got up a
Thank
level
God.
because
Exactly.
That's
now
protecting us from the real
Force.
illegal aliens.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
See what I did there?
I do see what you did there, because you used alien like space alien, like an extraterrestrial.
Now, Matt, just
instead
say
of
yes.
alien,
No,
like somebody from another country coming into
You know
our
what? All right.
country.
You know what?
I get it.
I would prefer this if your explanation were just in chicken voice.
Oh yeah.
We're next week, Drunkard's Walk, all chicken voice.
All chickens all the time, baby. Could happen. We've had two chickens. Todd Etter gave us a topic last season, and so Jack, now you've been on this season, so we'll have to get. I'll have to get Steve Heaton, Corey Finkel, we'll get Jim Doyle on here at some point. So we'll get everybody, all the decuppers back. Claire Lambert, oh my gosh, I have to try to find Claire and get her on too. So
the whole coop.
See if I can collect the whole set here.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome, Jack. This is something I've never heard of. You're absolutely right. And it is we are aiming for a pinpoint here. I feel like much like last week. In fact, last week's. For those that listened, you'll remember that the topic we were given didn't even have a Wikipedia page.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's a clarifying question we should ask.
Does this have a Wikipedia page? Are you sure?
It does indeed. It's got a photograph and it's got measurement element to it. So, it's
great.
You'll see it and you'll go, yeah, okay, I understand. Why.
Well, that's good. We had to check because last week we had to stop at Herman Matzen instead of what was the name of the thing? The Angel of
the Haserot Angel.
The Haserot Angel. That was our topic that we were given. Doesn't have a Wikipedia page. So we spent an entire walk trying to get to some place it didn't exist. So we stopped on the architect or the sculptor who made it instead.
Really a metaphor for our lives, isn't it?
It is. It kind of is. Well, Jack, thank you again for this topic. Thank you again for coming on. Thank you again for my whole career, for this whole podcast, everything. I in fact, I tell you what, I'm going to send you 10% of everything I've earned, which should be close to zero. So I'll send it your way.
That's close to zero is really
all
generous.
that improv money.
Also, like, you met your wife doing improv, right?
I did. That's true. I met my wife doing improv. So really,
and you have
I
a human child together. So there's a person that exists
That's
that
right.
would not have existed were it not for Jack Reda.
That's right. My daughter owes you her life. Good times had by all, for sure. But we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate this topic, and I can't wait to hopefully get to it. I don't know, Jethro. I don't know about this one.
You know what? Nothing could be harder than what we've already done this season.
Yeah, perhaps. Well, take it easy, man, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Jack.
very good. I hope that turns out well.
Take care.
Cheers.
All right, bye.
All right, Matt, we have 2 chores in front of us before we fid it out. I was working on a pun. It didn't come together.
Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work at all.
It really didn't work at all. It didn't work at all.
But what do we need to do? What
First of all,
what
we need to talk drinky dinkies.
Oh, drinky dinkies. Okay.
Yeah,
let's do it.
So are you having a bevy webby here?
I am. For those that listened last week, you'll remember I was drinking a Wayne Gretzky number 99. And so I had to this week pull out my Mario Lemieux Foundation American whiskey. It's a being made by Big Spring Spirits, and it's to raise money for the Mario Lemieux Foundation. And if you're unfamiliar with them, look them up. They're a great charitable organization, but had to get Mario in here if I was going to do Gretzky last week. And this is the first time I've tried it, and it's actually real good. It's just a barrel-aged 6-year American whiskey, and it's very tasty stuff. How about you, Jethro? What do you got?
I am having a half of a fifth, so I guess a tenth.
Okay.
Of Maker's Mark that I purchased at a gas station because I'm a classy guy.
A glass station Maker's Mark.
Yeah, or gas station.
Did I say glass station?
I think
I said glass station because I've had a little bit of this whiskey, so I said glass station.
You know, it's very frequent that I'll stop by the foundry and pick up a bottle of whiskey.
So you must be in Corning, New York, then.
It's interesting that you say that because no, I'm not in Corning, New York.
Dang it, that's so close. But a gas station that sells whiskey means that you are in a location where you can buy whiskey at a gas station, which they wouldn't do here in Pennsylvania. So I can take Pennsylvania right out of the running.
So Matt, I don't know if you listen to our own podcast, but
I don't.
In season 7, episode 1, we already eliminated Pennsylvania.
Oh.
And we already established that the place that I currently live is a place where alcohol is sold freely and distributed by school children on every street corner.
Wait, school children. Okay, so that narrows it down to at least
a place where
states.
There are schools.
There we go.
That's right. Yeah. So not Mississippi. Then.
Not going to be Mississippi or Arkansas. So there we go. All right.
Take
what is
that,
the second?
The South. The second thing that we do is we traditionally write down a number that is an estimate of our best guess at the number of links it's going to take us to get us to our chosen destination.
Indeed. And so I should write down that number now. I am last week we tied. Remember? We tied, but
we were too tired to try to
do it. So we just made it a tie. We
were both emotionally defeated at having failed to validate that there was actually a Wikipedia page for our destination.
It's true.
Which I should point out is not the fault of our guest who provided the destination. It is our fault as hosts for not clarifying that needed to be part of the preparation.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I do not blame Carrie for that. I blame us.
I absolutely blame us. I just don't want anybody to listen and feel bad because of my natural sourness towards the human experience is only a comment on my own experience and not on anyone else.
All right. Well, I have mine down. Have you written down yours?
I have, in fact.
All right. Well, then let us journey forth here into Herman Matzen, one of the shortest pages we've ever been to.
Very short page.
Very few links out of here.
And the links that are here are disproportionately geographical, which is a path that we often poo-poo. There's Denmark, there's Berlin, there's Detroit, Cleveland.
Hold on, because it is so short, my eyes scanned it very quickly, and you know what I found that I like a lot?
Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry.
That's it. That's exactly it. I think that is going to be the way to go because he was a Commodore. He's in the Navy, not the Coast Guard, but I think we could possibly have an here.
A naval officer. Yes, absolutely. Well, it's certainly better than either Cain or Abel, although
Yes.
Fid may have biblical roots. I don't know that that's.
Possible.
I like that Cain and Abel are separate links, and they don't just bundle them together.
No, they've got separate things to say about them.
They really do. I mean, one of their stories lasts slightly longer than the other.
Well, it's true. Now, here's the other thing. I do want to point out that United States is linked on here. Now, I understand that United States is a geographical place, but United States will get us into the armed forces and possibly straight to the Coast Guard versus Oliver Hazard Perry, which will not. So I'm just suggesting it's to go through.
We don't have to go through the Coast Guard, though. Like the Coast Guard was how
the Navy
how Jack framed the story, but Fid itself, it's not like the Coast Guard has these naval secrets that they're keeping from the Navy.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I'll even go so far as to say we don't even need to worry about military naval vessels, like just sailing generally. It is an implement that's used by sailors, and I'm guessing sailors who measure their speed with ropes.
Or who just have rigging of any kind, right?
There you go. There you go.
All right. So Oliver Hazard Perry is where we're headed, correct?
Let's do it.
All right.
Here we go. Oliver Hazard Perry was an American naval commander born in South Kingstown, Rhode Island. Best known and most prominent member of the Perry family naval dynasty. He was the son of Sarah Wallace Alexander and United States Navy Captain Christopher Raymond Perry. United States Navy, by the way, a clickable link.
I see that. And the older brother of Commodore Matthew C. Perry, who I believe is the one that Perry Highway is named after. Am I right about that?
Where's Perry Highway? I don't know this place.
Perry Highway? Are you kidding? Perry Highway is Route 19. It runs through Pittsburgh. It also runs from like Erie all the way to Florida.
Huh.
No,
I've been on Route 19. I had no idea that it was called Perry Highway.
Oh, you never heard it called Perry Highway? Well, they call it that very much in the North Hills. That it is known as both. Perhaps it is not everywhere, but I assumed that it was. I guess. Interesting
indeed.
But I think Perry supervised the Battle of a Fleet. Maybe it's named after this guy. Maybe it's named after Oliver Hazard Perry. I don't know now. Well, we'll have to see. If it's on here, then it's named after him. But you're right. The United States Navy is on here, as are several seafaring vessels: the USS Nautilus, USS Revenge, the Lawrence, the Niagara, the Nonsuch, and the Java.
Nonsuch.
Yeah.
The Nonsuch.
No, Nonsuch.
Nonsuch. So there it is. First of all, this page is quite long.
It is quite much longer than the page we were just on. That's for sure.
This is clearly a storied gentleman who has a great history, of which I am completely ignorant. But he cuts a handsome figure in the portraits that are painted of him that are included in this page.
Indeed.
It is an embarrassment of riches in terms of naval links that are available. So if you'll pardon the mild pun, if you are into navel gazing, this is the page for you. There's a section called Early Naval Career here, which has a lot of really great stuff here. And I am attracted to midshipman as a possibility, because that gets us into the belly of the naval beast. It covers both sailing and also the military.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Are there things that excite you and entice you?
Yeah, I don't mind that. I see captain is on here as well, if you want to go into ranks. Also, sailing master is on here. Mm-hmm. But I'm continuing to go through because I'm wondering if there's more, like, even closer related to like the tools of sailing. Something like if a different tool was listed on here, or perhaps the FID itself will be on this page. I don't know.
It's
the movie Braveheart is linked on here.
What? Why so?
Through his mother, Perry was a direct descendant of the uncle of Scottish nobleman and military leader William Wallace.
Wow.
Yeah.
A direct descendant of William Wallace's uncle?
The uncle of Scottish. Yeah. The direct descendant of the uncle of the Scottish. Yeah.
So Perry's battle flag is linked here, which says, "Don't give up the ship." Is he the original, the originator of that phrase?
It seems to be the case, although I only saw it in reference to the flag as well. So I don't know
No, it said the battle flag, don't give up the ship, a phrase repeated by Captain James Lawrence during his dying days after being wounded by enemy fire aboard the Chesapeake, became the battle cry of Oliver Hazard Perry. So
got it. Okay. Geographical namesakes, we've got Perry Traditional Academy in Pittsburgh and Perrysville Avenue, Old Route 19 connection in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Perry North, Observatory Hill, and Perry South, Perry Hilltop neighborhoods in the north side section of the city of Pittsburgh. So you got all kinds of things on here. I'm surprised that it's got to be Perry Highway has to be who this is named after, but it has to be named after this gentleman. But it doesn't actually say that on here, so maybe it's not. I'm surprised it doesn't say it on here, but it doesn't say it.
Interesting.
So there you go. I'm sure if my father is listening to this, he's shouting at his listening device, "You're an idiot! My son's an idiot! Oh no!"
Wow. First of all, Mr. Hartman, come on. That's no way to talk to your son, even though he can't hear you at the moment. I mean,
he would not. He wouldn't actually say that. Let's be clear.
No, I mean you've made it very clear that he would. So,
I do see the United States Naval Academy is linked on here as well. Which I mean, United States Navy is pretty much the same as far as what we need to use it for. There are ships on here.
There are
Liberty
indeed
ship.
Specific ships.
There's types of ships too. That's what I'm saying. There's like the Liberty ship is on here.
So because we're talking about a specific tool that is used on board, a rope heavy boat.
Hey, hold on.
What?
A tall ship is linked on here.
Is it?
Tall ship is a large, traditionally rigged sailing vessel.
Is it? Where is this?
Yeah, it's down. It's down. It's near the bottom. It's under eponymous ships. I'm sure some of these earlier ones would probably be the same because they all had rigging. Like the Constitution is on here. So. Oh, wait a minute! Look at this. After the crew returned home, Heath challenged Perry to a pistol duel, which was fought on October 19th, 1817, on the same field in Weehawken, New Jersey, where Aaron Burr shot and killed Alexander Hamilton.
What?
Heath fired first and missed. Perry declined to return fire, satisfying the Marines' honor.
Wow.
Look at that. Yeah, did you know we've got a Hamilton connection? So there you go.
Amazing.
We're just going to be just as popular as that musical.
That's right. You heard it here, folks.
That's all it takes. One
really
mention.
Is. Absolutely, really is. So, you like tall ship? Is that what I'm?
I mean,
gleaning?
that's my favorite so far. I see Purser on here. I see Chaplin. I see other ships that are that also had that same type of rigging. But I like tall ship because I feel like that's going to talk about rigging, and it's going to talk about ropes, and maybe it's going to talk about the stuff that's needed on that ship, and that we got it.
Okay, that's certainly a possibility. I don't discount that as a possibility.
Okay.
Tall ship is a class of ship.
Yes,
and those ships are absolutely going to have rigging, so it's certainly a viable path. I don't want to sound like I'm immediately coming out negative. However,
you're coming out.
What I have is a nuanced alternative. So midshipman, if you hover over it, which, unless you want to change the rules again, is still allowable via.
Okay, bring that up again and again, would you?
I will.
The fans love to hear you talk about it. We didn't talk enough about it during that episode. Let's talk more about it now.
All right. So midshipman, when you hover over it, is an officer of the lowest rank in the Royal Navy, United States Navy, and many Commonwealth navies. So if we're talking about the functionality of the FID and who's doing it, who's doing the fitting, right?
I have no idea.
And who's overseeing the fitting. I feel like if we go into midshipman, then we're talking about a functional role within the vessel. And like duties of that role may be listed in a way where tall ship, like it's very high level and vague. And there's certainly links that will get us to FID. But I feel like midshipman, like whoever's doing the fitting is probably being overseen by a midshipman.
But what didn't you say? Midshipman was the lowest rank?
Yes.
So somebody who has the lowest rank isn't going to be overseeing anybody, are they? They're going to be overseen by people.
They're the lowest ranking officer.
Oh, the lowest ranking officer. I see. Not the lowest ranking individual.
No. So, and again,
I see.
It's amazing that we've gotten this far into the episode without a hilarious seaman dad joke. But the midshipman is overseeing all the seamen. There's so many seamen under midshipman that that's my perspective. So I would vote midshipman rather than tall ship for that reason, sir.
Really?
Yes.
Well, my concern is that it will not talk about that, and that there's a greater chance that it will talk about the equipment on the tall ship. But I'm certainly interested in seeing it, and you do often come up with some really good ideas that I don't think are going to be good. So let's find out. Let's find out if, in fact, you do have a good idea here. Where is midshipman?
So if you go to early naval career, it is the first clickable link in that section.
I see it.
Right at the top.
Midshipman. All right, let's do it, man.
All right, here we are.
Midshipman.
There we go. An officer of the lowest rank, as previously discussed.
Wait, the lowest rank, or an officer of the lowest rank? I see. He said officer. Okay, I got it. I'm with you now.
There are many links here, and again, we're deep into the naval world. So there's a whole bunch of clickable links on here that have sailing things. First, I will point out under the table of contents section that there is section 1.3 under history, which is snotty.
Oh,
yes. In Royal Navy slang, a midshipman is sometimes referred to as a snotty. Two popular stories give origins for the term. The first claims that it arose from a shortage of handkerchiefs among the midshipmen, who would consequently use their sleeves to wipe their noses. First of all, no throwing stones there. Anybody who's not had a hanky on them and hasn't used their sleeve.
Sure.
That's the first time.
Those people don't exist.
Prince William, later William IV, is sometimes cited as a notorious example of the practice among midshipmen. The other story claims that the three buttons formerly sewn onto midshipmen's jacket cuffs were placed there to prevent them from wiping their noses on their sleeves, which I believe is a factoid that I first learned from Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
Wait. Go back and say that again a little more slowly.
The other story claims that the
no, not exactly what you said. They put 3 buttons on their sleeve to stop them from wiping their nose.
So Matt, you're a fancy gentleman of the modern era. You own suits and sport coats, I assume.
Well, I have one.
You never wear them, but you own them.
I have one. Yes.
All right. So on the sleeve of that jacket, you have buttons, right?
Yes, I do. Although they're not functional buttons.
But the legend is that the reason those buttons are there are to prevent you, Matt Hartman, from wiping your nose on your sleeve.
And how do we know how true this is, or do we just know that it is a legend?
It's a legend. I mean, it's almost certainly apocryphal, but it's still a fun story to hear.
I like it. Although I think even as a young child, I never thought to wipe my nose on my sleeve of like I don't know how many suits I was wearing as a young child, but I don't know. That never occurred to me to even do that. But I guess if you're wearing suits all the time, really? What are you going to do, right?
Well, I mean, you're wearing clothes all the time. If you got long sleeves and you got a runny nose, that's a solution that presents itself. I'm not saying that as a 49-year-old man that I do that on the regular, but as an unschooled
but occasionally,
child,
right? Occasionally,
as an unschooled teenager or child with no couth and a runny nose and a total lack of social awareness, like absolutely. What about walk around and find a paper towel? No, I'm going to
come on, that's ridiculous.
The cloth that I have at hand.
Actually, you certainly weren't going to find a paper towel in school because those paper towels were those brown, rip your face to shred paper towels. And I would rather wipe it on my sleeve than even if I had one sitting next to me, I wouldn't pick it up and use it because that's just going to tear my nose to bits.
Yeah, I know. Those brown paper towels are whoever decided to standardize on those crappy brown paper towels deserves to be drawn and quartered.
Yeah, that's insane. All right. Well, I'm going to bring you back to our task at hand, and that is to find FID. And I'm going to say that I don't see it on this page, nor do I see anything referring to jobs of people on. I mean, seaman is on here. An able seaman is on here.
There's semen all over this page, folks.
I'm kind of fed up with this whole semen thing.
So I will say that under the history section, there is a section called duties and promotion.
Duties.
Exactly. So if you want to know the seaman's duties, or the duties of a seaman, it works both ways, folks.
It's upsetting in 100 ways.
That they are listed here, and
of a midshipman. Let's be clear, of a midshipman.
Of a midshipman, absolutely, yeah. It's not just any seaman, folks.
No,
it's a very special seaman. But it says here, like the board, which might be an ad hoc affair, the actual exam questions were not standardized, and their content depended mostly on individual captains. In seamanship, the candidate was expected to be able to splice ropes, reef a sail, work a ship in sailing, and shift his tides. And splice ropes, like we're getting into rope work on a boat.
Well, and it is linked. I see that rope splicing.
Yeah.
Huh.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I don't know how we would find anything better than that. Unless reefing involves a FID, or sailing is here, which probably involves a FID, but I think that there's a greater chance that you're right. Rope splicing is going to be the one that's has a greater chance of having this on it. So I agree. Let's go to rope splicing.
Splice ropes it is. Here we go.
Well, splice ropes is the link, but it takes you to rope splicing. So that's
rope splicing.
In case any listener is confused as to why I'm using a different term. Rope splicing. Ropes is just linked on here. Rope work is linked on here as well. So if FID isn't on here, I bet you in rope work it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of different splices: an I splice, a figure eight, splice knot.
So many splices.
There's a lot of splicing. A snap shackle is on here. Yes.
If you look to the right of the page, Matthew, below all of the pictures of the various spliceable ropes, there is a picture of what looks to be like a spool, a spliced rope, and two wooden implements. And if you look at the description of that picture, it says I splice, common whipping thread, FID, and Swedish FID, neither of which are clickable links. God damn it.
But under splicing tools, it says a FID is a hand tool made from wood, plastic, or bone and is used in the process of working with rope. And it is linked.
Yay!
It is also linked under C also. FID, tool used for rope splicing. So it turns out rope splicing is actually what a FID is all about, man.
I love it. Let's fit our way through this.
Yeah, we finished what we were trying to do because we got to FID. And here it is. The conical tool traditionally made of wood or bone. And I don't want to read too much about it in case we have another tie on our hands here, because we do have some time if we need to do a runoff. And I want to point out that FID disambiguation does have capital F, capital I, capital D, as if it is an acronym. But this is just a FID. It's an FID, folks. And that's the way FIDs work. Some of them, this picture that we have here, the FID is quite long, whereas the one that we saw on the last page, it looked shorter. Indeed. But it does look like something that you wouldn't want to get poked with, for sure.
Yeah. No, you would definitely not want this inserted in you in any way.
And next week we're going to have our work cut out for us once again, because this is another page that does not have a lot of links on it. But before we look too closely at any of that, let us look a little more closely at our predictions for today. Did you have any faith in us, Jethro? Because I sure didn't. I predicted.
You had no faith. What did you guess there?
I predicted 7 links.
Wow.
Yeah,
you
way over.
7
way
links.
over.
Really?
What did you put?
I guessed.
Can't see it. Still can't see it.
6. I guess 6.
Oh, you lucky. It took us 4 to get there. 4. From Herman Matzen to Oliver Hazard Perry to midshipman to rope splicing to FID was only 4 links, which means Jethro takes the win and
Yay!
ties up the season.
Wow.
After 5 episodes, 2 for me, 2 for you, 1 for both of us. And there it is, folks. That was great. Yeah, I really did think it was going to take us a while. I did not realize that Commodore Perry was going to be on that page. I probably would have guessed a little lower, but that was lucky. That was a lucky pull for us, I believe.
Yeah, indeed it was. I think Jack definitely laid the groundwork of our expectations by saying, "Hey, this is a really tricky thing."
Yeah, well, and I mean, even if he hadn't, I think just if he would have just said, "Your suggestion, your topic is FID, and here's what it is," he wouldn't even have had to put any kind of rating on it of any kind. I would have been already thinking this is going to be too tough, but no, it wasn't. It was good.
You know, Matt, one thing that I'm taking away from this, and not
What's
just, and it would be easy to take an egocentric lesson away from this, like, gosh, Jethro sure does know the links to click to get us there quickly, and Matt sometimes fights him, but Jethro ultimately wins in a lot of ways. Yeah, I could take that view of things, but the lesson that I really take is just how interconnected the world is, and just how amazing the universe is. That whatever point of focus that you have in this universe, you're not very far from a completely unrelated thing, and that we are all essentially part of a single superorganism, and you can never be truly alone as long as you exist in this universe.
I mean, I guess that's true. I don't know that Wikipedia is necessarily the way to prove that, but I do think that you're right in the end. But I think that Wikipedia just has a lot of different, stuff linked and words said, and so.
The only thing I have to say in response to that is,
Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here again for Drunkard's Walk. A big thank you to you for listening, and a thank you to Jesse Ellie for our theme music and Nick Harmio for our artwork. A thanks to all of you who have given us ratings or reviews on iTunes or wherever you're listening to your podcast. That really helps us out. If you haven't had a chance to do that yet, head on over and do that if you don't mind. Also, head on over to Patreon and sign up to be a patron. Give us a little money to keep this thing going. Head on over to TeePublic and you can get yourself some merch, or hey, just go to the link tree and you can get all of those links there. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on our podcast and giving us a topic to travel off to, you can go ahead and do that as well. That link is on our link tree too, to fill out a form and give us that topic. We hope to hear from you soon. We hope you're enjoying the show, and we'll see you next week.